Hello everyone and welcome back to another classic playthrough. My name is Ryan and today we're taking a look at a game that is very foundational to my own gaming experiences. This is Ultimate Domain, also known as Genesia in the European markets. This game was developed by Microids and published by Software Toolworks back in 1993. And the core developer of this game, Thomas Zigum, recently brought this version of the game to iOS probably a few years ago, and then earlier this year released a reimagined version on the Steam platform. It's just kind of a reimagining, kind of updated version of this game. So I'm kind of interested to check out and see, play this, core game, the foundational game here, and then kind of see how he as a developer has evolved and how the game's DNA has evolved over that time as well. See kind of what carries over and what hasn't and what not. So could be very interesting. This game was originally developed on the MS-DOS and the Amiga-based platform. So, kind of right at that turning point, I guess, in PC gaming, maybe that era when games were getting more complex and introducing like a lot of differences. This game would probably, be up against like the first Civilization, games such as that. So, and kind of the style of it and everything. It's kind of a turn-based kingdom builder in a lot of ways. It's kind of an interesting experience, and has very foundational in my own gaming roots as far as the games that probably I play now and everything. And it's definitely a game that I think about every so often and want to go back to and just take a look and relive that part of my childhood and whatnot. So some different ways to play the game. We're going to be playing through DOSBox. We're going to emulate a little bit. And then iPad, which I already kind of mentioned, newer versions on Steam. And if you don't want to check it out on those, there's also a lot of DOS streaming sites now. Go on, find one of those, and kind of stream the game that way. And then you don't have to install anything on your system. You just kind of play the game for what it is. Caveat to that is, I believe, I haven't done too much research on it, but I believe the versions on those are like Genesia version, because there's two styles of the game out there. The graphics are very simple, and the version that I know of has a little bit more, I guess, interactivity. There's animations, transitions, and whatnot. It could be that the games that are there are just kind of playing as you would play it like off a disc. So it'd be just basic gameplay, basic music, all of that's running off the disc versus installing the game on the hard drive where you would get the additional cutscenes or additional graphics fidelity or like that. So that's just kind of the two things that I've seen out there, kind of like I said. But I was able to get the version that I know and that I enjoyed. So we're gonna check out that one, sure. So my first playthrough of this game would have been back in 1998, 99. That's when I would have gotten my first PC, and this game here came in like one of those random packs of like 20 games that you would get from a big box store, and the game I was after at the time was Jet Fighter 2, and I believe that Jet Fighter 2 was in this set, and then Ultimate Domain was just kind of in here as well. So I was drawn to the disc art. It's kind of a red disc with the village graphics, castle graphics on it. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And, I was playing FF. Let's see, it would have been, I guess it would have been 2 at the time, the American 2. So I guess that would have been 4. I forget the naming convention. It's been a long time. Touched a Final Fantasy, but same era, and it's like, okay, we'll take a look at this game as well. And had a very mixed experience with it, I'll be honest. And that was mostly because of the difficulty I had running the game itself. Given that my computer at the time, I think, only had 8 gigs of RAM, and this game definitely would have benefited from 16 gigs once I upgraded that computer, or once we decided to upgrade it. So the gameplay got a lot better when I first played the game, it would crash a lot, and it would crash that like the moments when I would be starting down the tech tree that exists within the game. As soon as I would start to research, or as soon as I would enter one of the buildings, you would kind of see what I'm saying as I enter a building. It plays a cutscene, a transition scene, and I believe that transition scene was what was causing it to crash. It's because it was 3D rendered graphics and everything, animations and whatnot, speech. So it was a lot of activity there. And whenever I would go into one of those scenes, click on research or something, that's when the game would crash. So never got out of kind of the early stages of the game. You still beat the game, that way. You don't need to go up the tech tree, but definitely helps to kind of progress through that. The AI progresses just fine. So that was just kind of my early experiences with it, but it kind of smoothed out, and now I get to play it here emulated, and having pretty good times with it. So kind of the deal with the game for me was that it brought a high sense of immersion. Like the narrator at the beginning part of this game, awesome. Like I think that's what drew me in. It drew me in. Just his narration, his voice, and kind of the animation, then just kind of the outline of the story. Kind of all created this effect that kind of got me into the game immersion universe and whatnot, and it was just a good experience all around, and I'm excited to kind of share that with you guys today. So we'll go ahead and pop in here, take a look at the game. The game itself it's a turn-based strategy game. Kind of recent games that I would liken it to, I guess. I'm not going to say it's a civilization. You're more building like a village. So I say a Banished would maybe be a more accurate analog to the game. So if you've kind of played that game, you kind of can look at this game and maybe you can see some of the DNA of Banished in this game. And so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play this game. Like, we're gonna see all the animation cutscenes and everything, kind of show you around the game a little bit as far as what I know. Just kind of have some fun with it, and then I'll probably cut the video there, and then we'll just do an extended playthrough of like a full campaign or something like that. If you wanted to see a full game, or if you just want to see the basics of it, then check it out then. So go ahead and pop in here.
A long, long time ago, in a rich land called Genesia, reigned King Neort, acclaimed and deeply respected by all his people. The great king had known glory in many battles and long years of happiness. Yet strong and powerful as Neort was, he fell desperately in love with a woman who firmly rejected his passion. For a love of this woman, King Neort decided to prove himself as no man had ever done before by offering her the 7 sacred jewels of Neort. The king was sole guardian of the tower where the 7 jewels were kept. Committing an act of sacrilege, he entered this tower and removed the 7 magic stones which had brought peace to Genesia. As he brought forth the last jewel from the tabernacle, a curse fell on the land. Lightning, meteorites, thunder and flood swept the country. Crops were destroyed. Famine raged and disease spread. The people were decimated by hunger and sickness, and in the resulting chaos, survivors fought to the death. Many decades were to pass in this forsaken land before life and nature began slowly to return. One fine spring day, 3 men once more set foot on the lands of their fathers. Each styles himself heir to the former king. But to become the recognized ruler of Genesia, one of them must first recover the 7 jewels which are scattered throughout the land and bring them together again. Only the man who returns the 7 sacred jewels of Niot to their rightful place will be crowned King of Genesia.
So that's just a very awesome setup to the game. Like I said, I remember just watching that, and it could be just the era, just kind of my interest in animation now and everything. It's just kind of the foundations from which the rest of your life and how you experience media and everything. So yeah, so it's really cool, and it's like I said, it's very, very awesome to be able to revisit this part of my childhood through the game. So I'm not going to get too much into like any sort of the strategies and whatnot. There's actually the game manual for it that you can hopefully get or download. It kind of gives you a tutorial walkthrough with it. We're just kind of going to play it for fun. I'm just going to kind of show you some basics of it. I'm not terribly good at like understanding like population growth and all of that. There's really no hints or anything to it, so, but we'll do our best, and like I said, we'll see the game for what it is and kind of experience everything together, and kind of the music and animations and all of that. So first option here is speeches. As you kind of talk to units, they'll kind of give their little narrations and whatnot. We'll go ahead and leave that on. Transition scenes. This is transition scenes between buildings. So as you go into, say, a barracks or something, there's a cutscene that plays, and this transition scene would play every time you would go in there. So if you were looking to just play the game, you'd want to turn the transition scenes off. Full kind of immersive experience, then you'd leave that on. So it's just kind of the pacing of the game, and how games are today versus how they were then. I mean, the transition scenes were those cutscenes. Those games, play the game, and all of a sudden you get to this awesome cutscene and all of that, and it's kind of in that vein. So, seasons within the game, there are 4 seasons. So there's winter, spring, summer, and fall, and kind of go through those transitions, and it affects gameplay and like when your workers can work, what they can do and not do during those seasons and whatnot. So that just kind of sets the speed of that. Number of players, up to 3 players can play. Again, it's a turn-based environment, so you have a few minutes to set up your base and whatnot, and then it times out and it goes to another player. So you kind of rotate through and whatnot, go through it. So Civilization-esque in that regard. So kind of that turn-based and whatnot. So additional atmosphere, that would have been a setting for like sound. So you didn't have like a sound card at the time, you selected no, it wouldn't play, like probably the music would have been cut, or something would have been cut by that. So creation of the world, it's basically just that. It's like, which maps do you want to play on? Let's see, I think 2 is very island based, so there's like, it's basically you're on an island. That one's not really that much fun, in my opinion, because you have to develop boats, and those are it's kind of an advanced tech. 5 is a very small landmass. 1 is pretty much all ground, if I remember, forest and whatnot. So I'm gonna check it out on 1 here. Probably when I extend a playthrough, I might play on one of the other ones, just because it'll be a little bit quicker. Maybe, but we'll see how things go. Game level, I'm gonna leave it on normal, and see some of the. I'm not gonna be too critical of the game. I mean, the AI gets a lot of advantages, especially early on in development and whatnot. But go ahead and hop in here. So we're in the game now. Player 1 here, white, playing the 2 AIs, Edward and Karnak. Take a look here. This is the map. Our little flag shows where we're at. Go ahead and take a look in here. Gonna move a little fast here. The main world is up here in this board, so this kind of gives you the world view of everything. This button here just shows the grid, and these are the lands. So you kind of can see by this little vaguely dotted line. Let's go here, arrow keys, and let's kind of move this along here. Ducats gold is right here for 10,000, so just kind of your budgetary everything. That informational speech bubble is kind of telling you what's going on. Over here, this is the little timer, so this little thing here ticks up through the course of your turn, and we'll kind of see how the strategic use of that here in a second. So, kind of in a rainy season, there is thunder and lightning, and the thunder and lightning is, you know, striking these areas, making them usable. It could strike a tree, catching it on fire, strike your building, destroying it, catching it on fire as well. So, a whole bunch of stuff going on there. So, kind of go around the board here as we go. This little button here, it just kind of advances the time by 1 tick, and you can kind of use that strategically as you play the game. But this is our barracks. I'm gonna go ahead and click that, and we're gonna go in here, and that basically pauses the actual game. And as you can see, we have this little screen here, and we have settlers. This is where kind of your population gets dumped when you get new people, and then we can kind of see different jobs that we have within the game. And some kind of helpful little things is field. It shows how many fields we have available, and fields are linked to farmers because farmers farm fields. So, and then that's how you get your food. So we currently don't have any fields built, and I believe we have a stockpile that'll last like a couple seasons. So farmer's not really something that we need here right away. Kind of go through this trunk here. This just shows you how many trunks, I guess, tree trunks are available, and those are linked to your carpenter. And you know, I've never noticed this little line before, telling you where those are referring to. That's very interesting. Wow, learned that today. Interesting. The trunk is for the carpenters, so there has to be trunks for carpenters to saw on into usable lumber. So, and the trunks are created by the woodsman. And that's the trees here is 0, and I think it's because there's none of them working, but the tree count will be how many trees that are on your plot of land. And there's a little resource management with that, because if you cut down all of the trees on your land, they're never gonna grow back. So there's a little bit of resource management there. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But we're gonna get some people working, and what you're setting up, it says summer here down here at the bottom, it shows what season we're in. So we're gonna go into fall. It's gonna be a good work time for, you know, everyone to kind of get started. But you're setting up your work for the next season as to where you want everyone to be. So like I said, farmers farm food. Architects, they are your builder units, so they're going to be able to build your barracks, your warehouses, different buildings like that. Inventors are your tech researchers, so they're going to let you advance down the tech tree by developing more advanced weapons, armor, wagons, different units, stuff like that. Blacksmith is kind of your builder of advanced units, so to speak. So your blacksmith is, all they really build is your wagons, your balloons, and cannons. So basically kind of the three advanced units is all blacksmiths are there to build. Carpenters we kind of already went over. They cut down the trunks of the trees or make lumber usable. Woodsmen cut down the trees for the carpenters, and specialists basically create items such as your earthenware or fabrics, pearl, and that's all dependent on the land that you have. So it's basically each plot of land has a specialty. Specialist or what gather or mine those resources, so to speak. So and you in turn can take those special resources, sell them in a shop for your gold or whatnot, and kind of do it that way. So we're kind of going to get started here. The settlers are sleeping. Morale is a huge part of this game, and as morale reaches 0, they will either, desert, they'll move away, or they'll die, or any number of those things. So, and if they don't have a high morale, they're not gonna, make any babies, and so like population management is probably the cornerstone of this game, because you can't really do anything without a population. And as you're going to see, the AI will constantly get a population, whereas you will stick to however many people you have, and the AI will never get a disease. There's a part of this game where your units will become sick or ill, become diseased, and then they can't work that season. So we'll probably get to see that as well. But we're going to go ahead and start with an architect here. We're going to go ahead and get a woodsman started. Gonna do 2 architects. Like I said, there's a walkthrough on the actual game disc itself that you can utilize if you have like a really good start. I'm just kind of gonna do 2 woodsmen. That should get us some trees, and one of these guys to a carpenter. Architect, that'll get us our first building. This started this season, and then hopefully next season the architect will start to build another house. You can't control like what if you have like a idle architect, they will typically build like another house, and that house is what lets another settler in. So you kind of have to leave them do the thing, and they kind of randomly place these houses throughout your lands. You can't really tell them like, I want all my houses here. They kind of just randomly build those out, seemingly random. I don't know if there's a strategy to it. I'm going to apologize for any sort of abrupt movement to the screen. There's no real way to slow this scroll down, so kind of move. So go ahead and go out to the main map here and see what we got. This flag I'll go over here in a second. This is where the land. This is basically we play a game of capture the flag. In order to take over and seize land, you want to go for these flags, get close to these flags, and then your troops can seize the land. And so you're kind of you're defending this flag. Had a very interesting playthrough where I realized that just as like an enemy unit was pretty close by, because I realized that I could just take over higher land that way. So we go ahead and save kind of world map. This is kind of a bar graph. Take a look at the game. It shows our balance sheets for our different lands. We kind of add up here. So we're on, let's see, Judican. This is how many gems of the Jewels of Genesia, or King Eort? No. Eort and Jewels of Genesia, whatever. It's how many you've found and located. You can see that our land is not very fertile, but we do have a lot of good water, so that's good. We have a lack of vegetation right now. Morale is high, no military, not really much of a stockpile as far as our goods and whatnot. Materials yet. We don't have a warehouse to store those. And then we kind of get a more detailed breakdown. So we have one season of water, one season of food. Currently no epidemic going on in our current warehouse. Just basics of everything here, so doesn't really too much for now. But we're going to go ahead and get those architects ready to go. The game is going to want us to build a warehouse for a little while, but I find that we want to build the drill first. And you have 2 options for the drill. You place the drill near water, the drill is going to produce more metal. If you put the drill on high, like on a higher mountain peak or something like that, or particularly near one of these stone deposits, it's going to collect more stone. So go ahead and start a drill up there. See our little architect builder is going to get started on that. Kind of go in here, we'll take a look, and we'll see our resource consumption. We only have 2 wood, metal, and stone that is available, so we don't really have too much, but yeah, consumption requires 3 stone, which we don't have. And I'll kind of explain, don't build the warehouse first, and I'll see why here in a second, or I'll tell you why. And then a field, let's go ahead and put it in for good measure. There's really no strategy for it. We'll just put it 2 there. For safekeeping. Keep building that. I'm gonna go ahead and move you guys over next season's armor. We have one season food, so I'm gonna go with that. Bomb here just kind of clears its rubble spaces. Let's kind of build on that. There is tech that lets you mitigate lightning in the future, but just to kind of advance. This side here lets us select the different units. This one here, I believe, selects like any current engagements or battles if they're drawn out. This selects your infantry troops, and selecting that will rotate through them. Wagon will select your wagons, cannon selects your cannons, boat selects your boats, and balloon selects your balloons. This little happy little gentleman up here in the corner basically has a movement tracker, so when you click on a military unit, it'll show you how many spaces that unit can move. And there's terrain penalties for going up through trees and all of that, so a lot to manage. You can move diagonally, whatnot, but you can't. This here is where your strategies have to kind of think, because you can move across this diagonal down here, so got to keep that in mind. Also, if you were to build a wall on this like flat terrain here, you can't build the walls on this inclined surface, so there's walls are very debatable, because you're basically walk along this path here each, and there's no way to mitigate that. So the turn's actually going to end here really quick. That's gold. I think that's pretty much everything, and like I said, this advances 1 tick, but we're going to go ahead and our turn. Go ahead and hand it over to Edward, and the AI is going to do some really quick thinking there. Come back to us, and now we're in fall here, so see what we got going. That drill's still being built. It takes a few seasons for that. It takes 2 seasons. We have the woodcutter here. He's chopping down this tree. And this architect that was once idle is now building a house. Have a thing there for let's build a warehouse. And then we have the farmer here that's starting farming. So go here, take a look at the population. Everyone is busy, so that's good. But the thing, so if I go into here, you can see that my available resources there for wood, metal, and stone are back up to 10 each. Had I built a warehouse, those would have been depleted. I wouldn't have been rewarded like another 10. So if I would have, at least this is what I tend to find, if I build this warehouse first, start stockpiling resources, I don't get that 10 back, and I don't have enough resources at that point to build this drill. And the drill is what's giving me that wooden, or the metal stone that's required for advanced building. So I find that you gotta build the drill first, just to keep that, or just to be awarded that 10 for your turn, and then later that other one will build up. But 10 is kind of the maximum you have until you build a warehouse. So next thing that we're going to look at building is the warehouse, which I could build now. I'm gonna wait, because hopefully next season the drill will be done. I'll have 2 idle architects, and I can use one to start the warehouse, and hopefully the other one will finish, this house in a couple seasons or 2. So a lot of the parts of this game right now, it's very slow pacing, so it's just gonna take us a little bit to get going, because I don't have much how much else we can do. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip the turn. I'll go ahead and show you this. If I click that, advances that ticker up one tick, and that'll come into key play here a little bit once I kind of get everything going. So now it's winter time. You kind of get a glimpse here what's going on. So this is trunk. So as your woodsman goes through, he's leaving these wood piles, and in order to exploit those, you're gonna have to move him to. You're gonna have to get a carpenter at the tree trunk. So trees, we have 30 trees on our plot of land. So we'll kind of work on that, and it took him one season. He completed one. Kind of basically cut down one tree. So. I'll actually check the balance sheet here and see what we got going. Still one season. I guess I can move. I don't know. I'm pondering whether or not I want to move the farmer to being a carpenter. Just kind of let it go for a bit. It's one season. I don't want to move the architect over because I want him to finish the building. I find that the AI like forgets that it's building here. We'll just kind of start like another house somewhere else, and that's kind of annoying. Well, here's our drill. It's over here, creating like a ruckus, a lot of noise. We can right-click on that, see that it's 9 and 12. It's of metal and stone. If you put the drill close to the living, populate. A racket, I'm sure that affects morale, so it's good that it's kind of up and out of the way. But he's finished that drill, so we're gonna get him started on this warehouse. Kind of strategically sort of thinking about it here. I'm kind of thinking of like a road sort of system. Kind of lets you. I should have moved you. Anyway, I'm gonna go there.
I'm a farmer. I'm very happy with life here, and my health is good.
So this is kind of the unit speeches setting. They say that, and you can kind of get some information. He's fairly old. Probably die. Here in a little while, a couple seasons or whatnot. He's currently healthy. Morale is 7. These houses here, I believe, only house one settler, and in order to get babies, you have to have a more advanced, I think it's like a stone house, and that'll allow for 2 settlers to live there. You can't assign settlers to houses, so I don't know how you take advantage of that, but. A girl and a boy go into live in their house together, get a baby out of it. Well, see, it's already happened. The stork is coming. There's a good chance that we might get a baby, but I don't think that's gonna happen because everyone's already living in all of these houses. There's not a vacant one for the baby to move into. The baby doesn't age, so it's just kind of mostly flavor text. It's not like you have to wait 16 years or whatever for the baby to become of like a working age. So, but yeah, like I said, there's not too much going. We have a warehouse being built. We go ahead and spy on the AI. There's no like Shroud of War or anything. Everything is pretty. They got their warehouse first. That's probably a drill. Same thing here. It's probably hopefully a drill. I don't know. Harsh winter here. Winter and palm trees. So Genesia is a really rough environment. especially since Eeyore there kind of messed everybody up. Oh, wind conditions. We can definitely go over that. So, go ahead and go in here for a second. The wind conditions of the game, I think there's probably 3 general wind conditions. The first one is like a domination. You basically take over or seize the other players, and that's basically you just getting a military infantry unit or troop to that flag. Once they get to that flag, you can claim that land, and it doesn't matter how many troops they have or whatnot, or what's kind of defending that land gets turned over to you. So guarding that flag is hugely important, I find. So, or, I guess I didn't find out the hard way or anything like that, but just kind of a realization that, like, even though the land, it's like you don't have to fight or to lay siege to a village or whatnot. You just go to that flag and then capture that land. So very important to go to those flags. So that's one win condition. Is you go to each of the other 2 players, capture their lands, over, basically took them by force. Second win condition is very interesting in a lot of ways. It's you basically have to collect those jewels. Once you collect the 6, 7, 8 or 9. Look at how many it is. 8, 7. 7 sacred jewels. You can capture those 7 sacred jewels, and that's also your win condition. So you can basically start searching the map for that. And this map there is a ton of land, so that might pose to be a little bit of a challenge. I am not sure if they are randomly, spread across the map, or if they're always in the same spot. I've never cared to pay attention to that, but they are basically you need like an infantry unit to scout them out, and as you're walking through lands or whatnot, they will spot one. Wait a minute. Once you get all the jewels, that's another
Captain,
mission.
your people have paid their taxes. Maybe we can increase the rate.
So tax, that gets us our ducat information here, our gold. Kind of just saying that we lack metal. Around here, see what we got being built. So the architect resumed work on that house. We're still working on that warehouse, and we're still cutting down a tree there. We got the farmer farming. Go ahead and there's our working. So again, there's not too much that I can do or kind of pull along here. So, but kind of going back to, I guess, the jewels. Yeah, you just have to have that infantry unit, and you basically start scouting out, around your land here, and then see if they spot one. And then once you find those jewels, you need to eventually build this temple. This temple is a very important building. First off, it stores those jewels. So if you don't have one of these temples, you can't really take possession of the jewel, because there's no place to store it. So, and then if you're capturing the jewels, you can target like another player's temple, go and destroy it with like a cannon or a bomb or something like that, and then, seize the gems that way. It's one way to do it. So you can find them on your own. The other way would probably be more of like a diplomacy sort of route, and that would just be you declaring peace with one of the AI players. So, but go ahead and we're gonna build this statistic down here is how much gold it takes to build that. The portcullis, the well, the road, and the field, they don't require a architect to build. They just require the money and sort of available sources. Road requires 1 stone, or the road requires 1 stone, well requires 3. We have current 10 available. So we'll go ahead and some some water going so that everyone doesn't get thirsty. Kind of keep morale up, hopefully. You don't want to put too many wells because it will deplete your water table. So there's some natural resource management to go through the game. So, but hopefully we'll get to research here shortly. So I'm kind of gonna speed through a little bit of this. So cool. We have a warehouse now, and the architect has gone, so they're basically building 2 more houses for us. Farmer continues to farm. Woodsman to chop down his trees. Let's see what we got going. Season, so I haven't really developed anything. But we can take a look at this building here. So if I right-click on this building, we get to go inside. And growing up, this was awesome. Like I thought this was like so cool because as you get resources in your warehouse, it starts to fill up, and you can see you'll see these logs become piled up here in the corner, and stone gets piled in the middle, and the metal ingots pile up over here, and food. That was just like a really cool way to see get that information to you. And I don't know, just really cool at the time. Kind of see that level of detail kind of rendered within a game. So, and then like I said, the music in this game is great. This is like really peaceful sort of music as you kind of go here. So there's a lot of heart and craft that I felt went into this game, and creation of the sprites and everything. For 1993, I think this is like one of those formative games you should look at and take a look at, and just kind of see current pedigrees of games and kind of the origins of everything and where things have come and where they're going and all of that. And so yeah, definitely a cool game. Still enjoying it. Like I said, the ambience, the wolf howls and the storm and different environment and all of that. So here's going to be one of my whips with the game. You can see the AI is right now. It has 1, 2, 4, oh, 5 more. No, currently have 5. We have a population of 5. Kind of working away. How many does this guy have? 2, 4, 5. 5 as well. Just cutting away at their timbers, and over here with original 4. So we'll see how things go here. Gonna advance the game. Advance it to the next turn. You see a temple there. This box here just shows what you have selected.
Do you want to save the game?
So, now going. Still working on their houses. Still farming away. So now I have 3 seasons of food. I am going to executive move here. Okay. Shoot. Time. That's okay. That'll be fine. This is fine. Go ahead and advance another. There's nothing doing. Can't really do too much with that. Oh, they got some nice advanced rock houses. Bummer. Oh, I should have. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get these raw materials. Listen. I don't have any wood. Anyway, so it's winter time right now, and nobody can work in the winter. It's too much snow. The drifts are just too deep for it. So not really able to do anything right now, but we'll hopefully get to that point here shortly. Well, a couple turns. A couple turns, hopefully we'll get it.
Captain, well, people have paid their taxes. Maybe...
Well, achoo, as you saw, someone is ill. So we're gonna go here in the barracks and see what we got going here. Well, we can see we have a situation going on right now. Morale is relatively high, but I have 2 sick workers and somebody else left. Died or something. Whatever reason. So, it's kind of a bummer. So, I mean, I guess someone finished that house, but we have some people that are sick, and that means they can't work. So that kind of really stuns, you know, your development and kind of your thought process. So it's not. The game has a pace to it where it can turn around within a few turns, but you start to feel like you're not doing enough. There's the whole, like, your APM as far as playing a game, strategy game or whatnot, and this game really doesn't have anything of the sort, so we can see the epidemic. Hopefully it's just like a cold or something like that, but again, I can't really do too much. I mean, I can't move them around. They're not going to get any better. They're basically sick in bed. This guy, I can stop him from building that house, which I might do just to... Which isn't going to benefit me at all, because I can't build any of this. I can move him to be a carpenter and start to get wood, hopefully, and maybe hopefully a settler will come through. I don't know, this is kind of difficult part. Or have him finish that house. I want to get moving. So we're going to assign him to be a carpenter. He's going to stop building that house, and then hopefully that'll play into our favor. See how things get together. So cool. So we made it through that little summer cold phase, I guess. So he's cutting down a palm tree. He's sawing his wood. And he's
I'm an architect. I'm very happy with life here, and my health is good.
She's very positive. So that's really good. Building that house over there. Go ahead and see what we got here. You have enough for a drill? Not quite for a temple. The temple is how you're going to manage your morale within the game. So when you build the temple, you can give gold to priest, and they, in turn, that gold turns into morale. So you can give everyone a couple points up on their morale. So it's kind of what I learned, that the temple is important for that, in addition to storing the gems, the jewels. So, but again, there's not really too much that I can do. I'd like that architect to finish that house and kind of bolster our supplies of wood and what. Too much there. Already built their barracks, so, and they've somehow enrolled a soldier. So, just kind of curious guy here. Oh, 1 soldier, 6 life. As you build the soldier units, you can build numerous ones and kind of create your army that way. Soldier here, he has no advances as far as his defense or his attack power, His life is based on the morale. So this unit had a morale level 6. He has a life of 6 out of 7. So game is very basic. It's just as long as you have more attack power than you're attacking, you're gonna kill that unit. What's interesting here is we have 5, 6, 7. The AI has a population now of 7. I lost population, so that's real handicap, we'll say, as you kind of progress through the game. So that's kind of one of the pacing issues that I have with it. If you don't have population, you can't really do too much. And I don't like. I guess I can move around. Just don't feel like there's any sense to, because I don't have any resources to build anything new. Do need to get a farmer going here. Have like a couple of seasons, I think. So, but actually moved up. But it's fall now, so it's not better. So we're just gonna go. Keep him a carpenter, the woodsman, get to be a farmer. So now there's 4 pieces of trunk that the carpenter can work on. The woodsman can go back to being a farmer, because we're gonna need to start getting here. It's 5. Switch these 2. And the thought that the 7 morale, this person won't desert and that they won't get sick. I'm gonna assign the architect a job. Carpenter. Kind of build something, hopefully. Let's see what we got. Oh, awesome. We have a ton of resources, so let's see. I'll go over these. So the barracks is that castle building. It lets you train military troops. It lets you set your tax rate, and also lets you go into a diplomacy if you wanted to try to make peace with the AIs. Doesn't obviously too well unless you're like really dominating them. They won't join you or whatnot. Drill, we've already seen. Temple for the morale. This workshop is what we use to develop the game, or develop the tech tree. So it's kind of where you see that. I'm tempted to start that. Actually, and that'd be very... I normally build like another drill, just to kind of have a lot of excess resources, but I need that. The tavern is an interesting building in that it lets you talk to like a... I guess there's just like there's a unit in there, a guy that you can talk to that lets you know if there are any gems in it. So it lets you know if you should waste resources trying to find the gem on this particular plot of land. I find it too useful, but you know, there might be a stat within the game that the tavern like affects the morale. I do know that there's also creation of an inn, which creates a place for, I guess, like kind of rogue, units to come in, and they basically stay there and then they work for you, settlers. So I'm wondering if like the tavern sets up that or not. How to get that in, or so. The shop is where you can sell excess items. The shop is more an advanced building because it requires a wagon, and we haven't researched a wagon, so the shop is kind of a useless building to get right now. Warehouse, could be good if we want to increase our storage space, but we don't really have requiring that right now, so that's kind of a waste as well. I'll go ahead and do the workshop, and at least let us kind of start seeing the more the meat of the game, then that barracks chant. I think that given this, we're almost an hour, I think that we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and throw our caution to the wind. Just kind of start seeing the basics of this game. Barracks going. And basically when I'm looking at placing the buildings, I'm thinking about our roads. I don't think I can build there, because the roads, like, as units move across them, they can move faster on roads than they can just traversing the natural earth, so to speak. So, but we'll go ahead and get those two started there, and hopefully.
The taxes have been paid.
So we have them building here. Too much doing, so kind of let things go. Summer here, hopefully they'll all be done by fall, and we can move on from there. He's already sending out this unit. It's probably the only one with an actual military. I didn't see if had one, but he's basically starting to scout out for those gems, so we might actually see one through him. Go ahead and advance our turn. Perfect. So now we have these two new buildings. We have our workshop and our barracks. And go into here and just see architects are building 2 houses. Sure, that's. We'll go ahead and advance it one more turn, and then we'll maybe take a peek in there at winter time and see what we can do. So.
Do you want to save the game?
Our fall period now. Oh, I'll wait until advance it turn. Okay, so strange settlers on our land. That just lets us know that we have another settler, so we're back up to 4. So that's really awesome. The morale of 7, so we're actually going to train him to be a soldier. Morale is high. Let's see what a soldier looks like. It is winter time now, so take the farmer, architect, 2 architects, I'll make them inventors. And go ahead and into here first. So we right-click on the building here. It says we have 3 inventors available. There's currently no invention in progress. This would be also where our blacksmiths would be working if we're building a wagon or something like that.
Come closer and choose your invention, Captain.
So as the blacksmith would be standing here if there was one available. So again, these little like immersive things were just kind of really cool to me, because I would click on the actual units.
Come closer and choose your invention, Captain.
If there's no inventors here, then you can't, open up this tech tree. But this is the game's tech tree, and there's actually 2 pages to it. Crafts page and science page. Kind of see some of the different options. Crafts. We go into here, we can see we can develop glass, textiles, metal, and wood. And from each of these, glass will get us test tubes, sundials, and then and the glass is kind of important for the sciences page, because if we go into physics, we can see that we learn science and physics, then we had lenses, then we can make telescopes, and telescopes lets your units move further. I assume, could be wrong. I don't know if it increases their line of sight. I'm gonna assume that the telescope only affects their movement, how many steps that. But yeah, I'll just kind of go through the tech tree here. Kind of, so that's glass gets you all of those. This tube. Touch on the science. The crafts kind of lay the foundation for this. They kind of work hand in hand. And then some stuff is like really hard to get to. Like we go down here to wood, we can create a loom, a ladder, and from there, if we have iron or blades, blades will get us bows. If we have steel, we can get a crossbow. But if we're down here working with iron, that lets us create a wheel. And then if we have the assembly skill, then we can finally create that wagon. That wagon will let us move items from our warehouse, sell it at a shop, or also items lands. So each land has its own resource pool, and the only way to transfer resources from one of your lands to another is via a wagon. So kind of setting up a manual trade route. If you're looking to, bring more rock, stone from one land, other that doesn't have any, basically wagon it that way. To do that, but mostly I find that the wagon is just to sell any sort of excess resources. But I use it when I'm just establishing like another colony or another land. So I've settled it. Warehouse there, I can move a wagon in and kind of just give it a jump start as far as the sources and what. So that's kind of the benefits of wagon and that. Crafts, metals, researching alloys. A lot of these researches just open up the rest of the path. Metal gets you into foundry, rings, anchors. The anchors are for your boats and your balloons. Founding here. The ladder, we can get a lightning conductor that mitigates the lightning strikes happen on your lands during the stormy seasons. Blade goes to bronze, goes to sword, iron, rapier, steel, and then it gets the broadsword, so that just kind of increases your military infantry attack power. Your infantry and knights and what. Bullets, and then basically that's going to get you the cannonball, bronze, gunpowder, plus a wheel, allow you to construct a cannon. These crafts are what your blacksmiths. So wagons, cannons, boats, and kind of last thing down here on assembly. Bronze gets you armor, iron and rings get you chainmail armor, steel gets you to plate armor. That's just increasing the defense of your units. Pretty basic there. The last thing is textiles. This one is linen, I believe. Hemp gets us rope. Linen, loom will allow us to construct a sail. Compass plus an anchor plus the rope will allow us to construct a boat. Get up here to silk. Loom will let us create a balloon cover, and then combined with the rope, the telescope, a burner on the science page, compass, and anchor will allow us to create a balloon, which is our aerial unit, which is a pretty powerful unit, to be honest. The game has it's a very rock, paper, scissors sort of mechanic to it. I wish the AI, we'll probably see in the extended playthrough, probably not this particular playthrough, but the cannon, while it can basically destroy a building in one hit or kill a unit in one hit, it can also be captured if you have two units that flank a cannon like either side of it. Close by it, you can actually seize control of that cannon. So I find my strategy is like if the AI is building a cannon and there's a cannon that gets within my lands and I have two infantry units, I can typically strategically move my units so that they're able to flank that cannon, and then I could take over of a cannon, even though I haven't researched the cannon tech. So that's kind of one way to mitigate a cannon. So boats, I haven't dealt with them as far as the AI ever building them. I've built them just let you ferry units across water. big boats. Imagine that, right? You can also ferry wagons via that as well. But the balloon lets you traverse via the sky, so it's a crazy unit, to be honest. Because also, if you develop gunpowder and develop bombs, you can drop bombs from it, and then you just send in a balloon, and you can drop bombs on all the buildings, destroy those, and it's just kind of a really very powerful unit. But if you have an archer, the archer can shoot the balloon and instantly destroy it. So there's an interesting balance in that mechanic. So a single archer firing an arrow at a balloon takes out a very advanced and expensive unit to produce. And then the same with the cannon, letting it being seized relatively easily by having two simple enemies. So just kind of some thoughts for those. So I actually read fairly recently that the interesting point of this game is that no matter how bad you're doing at any given time, you have a chance to turn everything around. Like, it's not like you went down this tech path and you've lost all of your settlers or something like that. Eventually, like, it gives you the opportunity to get out of that rut. There's not like an end game scenario per se. I've never felt too stuck. The places where I get stuck is if I've gotten like an epidemic, like a disease, I have nobody, and I didn't really. That was when I didn't realize what the temple did, and so like with the temple, like bolstering your morale, that's kind of hugely important. Keep like your at least some population, morale in your population is high, it kind of multiplies, and you're able to get more settlers. So all that kind of plays into the background of the game. That's where my strategy gets a little weak because I don't know the ratios or like when you should do something or not do something. Like, the game is not explicit about when that occurs or how it's calculating that information, and I'm not aware of it, and I haven't found any real strategy guides online. Really, I haven't really looked. But like I said, I play the game for what it is and just kind of have some little bit of fun. So last thing on this page is just kind of on this textiles link here. Gets us leather, which gives us a sling and a strap. That basically generates a cavalry unit for us, so basically a horseman. And they're cool because they can move around really quickly because they're on horseback. So, but I find that the game doesn't say like, oh hey, that's a cavalry unit, so it's going to do better against an infantry unit, because like an infantry unit with a high attack power can instantly take out a cavalry unit. Caveat, I don't like that, but I can't. It is what it is. So basically, when you're fighting, as long as you have more life than the attack power of the opponent, you're probably going to win, no matter what sort of unit you have. I mean, but an infantry unit can't shoot down a balloon, so balloon's going to easily take out infantry units. Then archers can obviously have a ranged unit, so they can launch their arrows at like infantry or cavalry knights or whatnot. So I don't necessarily see too much use in going down that route, but maybe playing on the hard difficulty, it shows itself as being the good option. Not quite sure on that. So science page. Sciences are broken down into these. Actually, it's very interesting. I didn't get a narration.
Come closer and choose your invention, Captain.
One of the narration is like, maybe he will.
Crafts is divided into 4 parts.
There we go. I was wondering about that. There's a little bit of a narration there as
Science is divided into 4 parts: medicine, physics, metals, and chemistry.
so yeah, I don't know. I was waiting for that narration. I hadn't heard it in a while. I was like, oh, what happened to the narration for laying out what the different crafts there are? Anyway, so under crafts we have the wood. Oh wait, we already did crafts. We're doing sciences now. Sciences, we have. Oh my, can't even. This is physics, metals, chemistry, medicine. That's medicine. And with medicine, we can research with the microscope. We can research the different diseases within the game. We have cold, dysentery, pneumonia, consumption, leprosy, cholera, and the plague. I've never had a game with the plague. That one moves between your different colonies or different lands, versus the other ones which stay fairly isolated. So yeah, you can kind of keep that in mind. I think we experienced pneumonia or cold earlier. That's with everyone sniffles. So, and then out of the test tube, we can develop medicine to treat those ailments. So, yeah, like I said, I haven't seen too much of the crazy, probably game-ending choleras or plagues. So you seen colds and pneumonia too big. I think I did see a cholera epidemic once. Aside from that, I don't know what medicine takes us. Physics, lenses, iron, gives us the telescope for movement. Microscope gets us the microscope. Let's see. Magnets. Iron will research magnets. Magnets, we get a sundial, and then sundial will grant us access to the compass, which ships and the balloons and whatnot. So, kind of where that one goes. Science gets into metals, tin and iron. And then if we research alloys, we can get into bronze and steel. Those are, again, mostly just bolstering like our attack and defense values. Just that. Chemistry. This one would be kind of interesting for us early, because this first one here is fertilizer. And as you saw earlier on that one spreadsheet page that we had, we weren't the most fertile land. It's kind of like mediocre. So this might be a good option for us to research science first, go into chemistry and get fertilizer so that we can have like good food source and what. So that'd be an option for us. Combustibles, start to get into iron, then a burner. Start creating that burner, which gets us the bullet. And the chemistry lets us research explosives, which gets us gunpowder, and gunpowder, the research iron will get us the bomb, and the bomb is for so we can. So go ahead and decide what we want to search here. And I think we're actually gonna do. Yeah, I think we're. I always like the advanced move. I like to start getting those jewels. Starts scouting out. Doesn't really matter, but
Crafts is divided.
we'll go ahead and put this little icon here. We'll select crafts, and then we're going to start researching crafts. This is kind of our research where we're at, 0%. This is kind of where our strategy is going to come in. Okay,
I'm busy inventing.
so
I'm busy inventing.
we have 3 inventors that are currently working, and we're going to go in here into the barracks, and then I'll explain the strategy here. So we'll go ahead and first. So in the main hall here, this is our general.
Good day, Commander. I need an army.
Well, Captain, what kind of troops do you want to enlist?
So here we have, this is where it would list out where I could have soldier, archer, I believe it's horseman, and then knight. 4 units that we can see here. I'm going to go ahead and get an infantry soldier.
These soldiers are ready to follow you for a few coins.
So I can choose them all, or I can choose 1, 2, or 3. And this is This is governed by how many units are in that settler window, how many I have. They're just kind of idle. It's kind of where it's pulling this information from. I have one non-active settler, so he's going to become a military unit. So we'll just go ahead.
Very well, Captain. This is the sum you owe me.
So he's going to cost 20 gold.
Thanks.
That's it. So now we have a soldier, so he can start scouting around for. We're going to go up here first and kind of explore the castle a little. So this is our treasurer, and he lets us set the levels of taxation. So we can click on him, and then we can choose how we want to tax our population.
Mr. Treasurer, I want to change the level of taxation.
Very well, Captain. What is the rate you wish to set?
So I mean, this is kind of almost a zero. Would probably get us a little more population growth, but we do need something of an income. We have, you know, just over 6,700 gold ducats right now, so kind of I'm gonna keep everything at 10%. Like, if I have a huge population, I'll go up to 20% and just kind of maximize our little socialist system that we devise, our feudal system. But we'll
10%? Very good. I'll see to it.
well, I think it was at 5%. Keep it at 10, that's fine. Now if we go over here, the last bit. So this is basically our ambassador, or kind of aim as kind of escaping
I
at
want
the
to
moment.
form an alliance.
A wise decision. To whom shall I send the message?
Diplomatic envoy. So we can send a diplomatic envoy to one of these other players, and we'll go ahead and send it to. Who should we try to do here? Send it over to. Well, let's go Karnak.
Very good. I'll see to it.
That's pretty much it for the barracks. So, what's interesting, of course, I mean, the animation sequences, the transition sequences, like, it's awesome to see for the first time. Music and everything. It's just like the little pomp and pomp stuff that goes on here. Like I said, that's what drew me into the game, and I love the 3D animations we got going, sprites and whatnot. So it was really a cool experience for the first time for like a 12-year-old and everything at the time. But yeah, the thing is about playing this, it's like, well, if I want to go and change the taxation, then I have to click on the barracks, and we're gonna skip the animations next time if we go into here. But the transitions and stuff, that takes time, and I don't want to go through all of that process to go all the way back here to exit the barracks. So, but anyway, we see this little unit that popped up here, and we see this little 8 tablet over here on the little ticker on him, and we can give him some different options. If you get close to a barracks, that's what the discharge is. So we go into this option here, we can see that this is now a soldier, and it gives us some information. It says his morale is 7, it's basically his health, and then it's given his X and Y coordinates. He's on tile 42, 59, so that's kind of where it's at. But we can't click on him, do anything from that window, because he's already enrolled. He's already a soldier for us. The only way to turn him back into a settler would be to click on him and then choose discharge, and then he will no longer be a soldier. But with him being an infantryman, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go... we'll go over here. Back. Let's go to the left. Down a little ways. We're gonna go ahead and move him. Oh,
Good day, Commander. I need an army.
Well, Captain, what kind of troops do you want to enlist? These soldiers are ready to follow you for a few coins. Very well, Captain. This is the sum you owe me.
Thanks.
I accidentally discharged that unit. Move him. And as you can see, you kind of have to baby the movement a little bit. So, go ahead and move diagonally here. And gonna cost us 5. That'll cost us 2. Oh, there we go. That's about as far as we got as far as our movement goes. And the trees are providing a little bit of cover, mainly for archers and whatnot. Units like the other part of the game is that these buildings do take up this tile, so there's no pathing like through these tiles. You have to go like around them. So the game's movement is kind of, it's a little bit cumbersome, but might help you out in the long run. Settler, actually could make him an inventor. I have everyone as an inventor right now because even though I am not, it's wintertime, and each of these ticks is actually a tick, actually increasing our research as well. So a strategy that I employ is during winter time, I put everybody that's not working as inventors, and then that will allow me to progress up that tech tree. But that's actually really cool that we got 4 people plus that military unit. So let's see how things go here. Yeah, we're gonna we're gonna build that temple. See what our research is. See, it's at 90% now. What's
Captain,
really
our work has been successful. We are ready to continue.
so, as you saw, as this ticked up, that research progressed, and that means that since we've completed
Come
that,
closer and choose your invention, Captain.
we can start down this path. We can continue to
Glass
research.
is a part.
Start
I'm
researching.
busy inventing.
Within our turn. So basically, they're at 0%, that just ticked up, and now they're at 22%, and that's because it does multiply. So the more units we have inventing, the faster your research is going to go, and you can also double up that research if you build like another workshop. Same land? Maybe not, but if you have, you can build another workshop in another land, and then you continue your research there. I want to go that far. But we're going to set everything up for next season. We still have 4 trunks, so one of these guys is going to become a carpenter. Kind of going to spread everybody out. I'm going to get this architect started on the kind of one of the last buildings here. We're just going to dump in a temple. There. Mainly, I'm trying just to... It's actually probably a good time to build that. Oh, things are in a pretty good spot, I think, right now. And I have everyone assigned to good roles, and then Venture keeps the tech tree moving. The farm will start farming. Spring hits us. Settler, the military unit, so we're good to go. See, our diplomatic envoy has arrived.
I offer you the wine of wisdom so that our peoples may live in tranquility and plenty. For 8 seasons, the doors of my stores will be open to you. Let us lay down our weapons and trade together. Accept this alliance and let us seal our peace treaty.
So, the II refused my envoy there, so... It's just too bad.
The taxes have been...
Oh, sniffle a chew. So what do we got? So our inventor fell ill, our farmer fell ill, but we did gain another settler, so not terrible, I guess. Just make him a farmer, and we'll go ahead and go down to where our terror troop is and see how it go. Down. That's pretty much all the... I'm gonna go ahead and finish the temple here. I'll show you guys that, and then that'll be pretty much a good introduction to the game, I think. So, no sense in really probably going too much further. I'm just kind of looking at the time, and I don't want this to be like a super long playthrough, but kind of gets our feet wet within the game. Again, I don't have too much going on right now. So, let's go ahead and end our turn. Saw something. Oh, I saw a jewel! So I'm gonna move him. Basically, let's see, I'm looking for that flag. There. Cool. So, we'll go here and take a look and see what we got going. So I have... Oh, that farm was ill, but he's better now. So now I have 2 farmers farming on my 2 fields. Carpenter's still working on the trunks and whatnot. Inventor, and then the architect's building another house. So that's fair, I guess. Kind of leave it like that. No reason to change stuff currently. But this is the temple. I'm gonna go ahead and go in here. I feel that there's again, going into like all these buildings, there's an ambience and there's a style and there's a you didn't have to do all this, you know, for the game to work. It's just kind of this extra flair and stuff that really gives the game its character, and I think that's what I've fallen in love with. It's just that. So
Give us a little of your gold, O Captain. Give freely.
So these values here, I don't know how much they correspond to, but they correspond to the morale. So we'll go ahead and just give them 200.
We will pray for you, my son.
And I want to say that like every 100 is like a point in the morale. So everyone's morale is really good. So that's good. I kind of lose track of where I've went, kind of what I've done. So that's kind of the purpose of the temple. You know, it lets us keep the morale up. We'll go in the warehouse. We're still good in here. This is actually the first time that I haven't seen this fill up very fast, but I guess that could be the one fill. I've kind of oddly managed to learn some stuff or how the game plays or whatnot. So. See where she's going. Now, I could just end my turn now, and then I'll see how things go, but I actually click this each time. I don't want to lose a chance to get a little bit further ahead. Like 10 extra percent will mean a lot in the research. It kind of just moves things along a lot faster. So because I'm researching something, I'll click this icon so that I can switch over once they've completed researching that. See, it sees at 85%. If I click this,
Captain, our work has been successful. We are ready to continue.
so now during my turn here, I can come in and I can change his.
Come closer and choose your invention, Captain.
Get him involved with researching something. So we're gonna.
The lens is obtained by glassworking. It is essential to build telescopes and microscopes.
I mean, for like elementary level or elementary school children or kids or whatnot, the basics here are very interesting. I mean, it kind of gives you, it teaches you some concepts of like how things are developed. It'll teach you what alloys are. It'll teach you like, oh, a lens. Okay, a lens makes. Oh, that's how telescopes are made. There's a little bit of educational value here. I feel. Even current generation games, not too much not much learning happening. I guess with some of them, some are more involved than other strategy games, obviously, or depth. But I mean, this one's teaching you like a lot of basic rudimentary concepts and terminology. It's like, oh well, no, what does glass get me? Oh, test tube. Well, what's a test tube? Oh, a test tube lets me do science. Different concepts like that. I don't know. I thought that's a really neat kind of thought. So, but we have him a couple ticks, and then he's changed the research there. We'll go ahead and go into the barracks. No new settlers, but everyone is busy working away. Soldier, which we're going to click on this, and that brings us to our soldier. Over here, and nope, no more action points. So next turn, we'll kind of show what he can do. So. Like there's no, like I said, there's no real reason to build the shop. It's like, yeah, let's go ahead and we're just gonna throw caution to the wind again. See if a couple seasons that'll show us all the. So that was a shop. Kind of finish it, and then build a road. But the reason to build a road, so in the event that we have a wagon, the wagon will move along this road very quickly, and if you place a shop next to the warehouse, you can easily move your resources back and forth in your turn to kind of maximize your how much ducats you're getting. So if we're not going to get to the point where we're going to have a wagon in this particular playthrough, but basically when you go into the warehouse here, a wagon sprite appears here in this corner, and you start to load the resources into the wagon. The wagon will hold 99 units of a resource, whether it's metal or whatnot. So you manually load the wagon, take the wagon down, and then park it in front of this store. That's when you're able to sell those goods. So that's just kind of just keep that in mind, I guess. It's kind of like a strategy, is to keep your shop close to a warehouse, because then you quickly shuttle resources to bolster your economy. Similarly, do here in a second. Basically what we're gonna do is I'm gonna seize this land here next turn. That'll kind of get us two plots of land to work with a little bit. Go from there. Still building those, but over here, so, because I'm within range of this flag, so I click on this unit, I have an option here to seize land. So I'm going to seize this land. Now you see up here, this land has become mine. So now I have control over this kingdom, and this infantry unit is going to become a settler. And how I'm going to do that is I can just click on this unit, and then I can say settle, and he's going to start to build a house. That's where he's going to live, and he's going to start a new settlement for us. This land. That's one way we can move settlers around. Perfect. This is awesome. Got 2 settlers here. Set up for farmer. Nothing's really good. That's awesome. Okay. So, yeah, that's basically, so that's how we seize land, seize control of the land. We got within range of the flag, seize control, so now we have, this land is now ours. And then I took that infantry unit and let that unit become a settler, basically. So he's gonna build his house wherever I place him. And I could do the same thing with those 2 other settlers. I can make them soldiers and then shuttle them over here, have them, and then build there or whatnot. But if we go into here now, and I go into my build window, I can see this tile is like is isolated, so it shows me how much everything is going to cost to build, which does come out of our treasury. So that's the only thing that's pooled between our lands. Everything else is isolated between the grids. So basically, I'm starting from scratch on this one. So I have 10 resources available now for me to build. I mean, he's going to build this house, and he'll probably finish that in a season or 2, and then he'll probably be starting like another house and get a settler or whatnot. Or we can shuttle people over or something like that. But different things there. Kind of get out of winter so we can see things here.
The taxes have been
We have some disease, so we have stopped researching, but they're building some houses. Still kind of moving along. There's still kind of movement there, but we're gonna go ahead and go here and here. Then we can see on this other land, he's building another house. So he lives here, and he's gonna build another house. So hopefully, settler. But little. I'm not gonna get a. The thought here is by building like close to this border here, I can take a warehouse and I can put the warehouse right on this tile, and then put another warehouse from this land on this tile, and then with a wagon you can shuttle resources between these 2 tiles very quickly. So, load up like maximum like 99 stone from here, and then move it 1 tile over and dump the stone into this warehouse if there was one here to give 99 stone for this plot of land to pull from. So that's just kind of a strategic thought. They kind of get depth to it to kind of shuttle resources around. We'll click on the shop here.
Good day. Bring your wagon to the door of my store. I'll buy everything in it.
So basically, this is how you kind of jumpstart your economy, selling like excess resources to the shop here. So you manually bring in a wagon in front of it, and you just sell the resources, and that's. I got little details like that within the game, just kind of affecting how you play the game and what you do and whatnot. So it's very, I don't know, very cool, very novel idea. And this is the inn that we just constructed. So we're gonna go ahead in here and we're gonna pay a little bit.
Music and pretty girls.
It's an awesome tavern. I'd love to actually visit a tavern like this. But we have these. I guess I don't know if they're the same or part of the same. Not. But basically, we can click on them.
What do you want? What do you want?
Come and have a drink in the tavern.
Basically, if I
What
click
do you
on
want?
him, I can ask him about the jewel.
What do you know about the jewels?
That depends on your purse. How much?
And I can pay him a sum of gold to figure out where the jewels are. And this is for this particular land. So if I give him 400, let's say.
There aren't any in the area.
Come and have a drink in the tavern.
What do you want?
So we learned by paying that 400 that in this land, where are we? Judican, there are no jewels, so there's nothing to look around and find here. So no sense in scouting around too much of it. So that's kind of how you find it. One strategy is you have to build like an inn on each of these plots of land versus randomly moving an infantry unit. Not necessarily randomly, but strategically to search for the jewels, because they basically show up as in a little bag. It's basically like King Newort grabbed the jewels and then tore off, and then they started falling out of his purse, and they're scattered everywhere. Just trying to find them all, and that's again one of the win conditions within the game. So, yeah, not too many. Portcullis is just a gate. I guess I can. Just for giggles. It just has to be. Oh, I mean. It does. It does take a while. Okay. We'll see what. It's a turn. So now we have this sort of wall. Sleepy. See it? Just randomly decide to build those houses. This, you would assume that this is like a watchtower where you could, deploy an archer to kind of guard your land, but you would be wrong to assume that. Maybe that was an idea that never made the programming, never solved that problem, is my guess, but it's kind of. He's still building a house. I'll let him continue on with that.
Captain.
It's the lens.
Do you want to save the game?
I'm just sort of kind of increasing my speed of play here, because normally I would have clicked on that.
Come closer and choose your invention,
Research.
Captain.
Time advance, just to kind of maximize search.
Science is...
Starting sciences.
I'm busy inventing.
Kind of there. So, cool. So now we have this wall built. Go in here. Now I just changed that to a little gate. I can open and close the gate as I see fit. So, my strategy. The strategy for this is if you're playing in a if the AI does get like military aggressive, you can basically just build a wall around your flag if you as best you can. Convert them all to gates around it to make it look to kind of defend the flag. Basically defending that. Don't take over your end. They're scouting it. Trouble with this. So, and let's get like something to start. If I put it closer to the water, now it's gonna get more metal, stone. But it's kind of gonna. It's a speciality. Oh, I can look at that. Both places. Markham here is not very fertile either. Speciality. There's no specialities here. Versus here. Let's see what this one. Oh, pearl. That's awesome. That's really awesome. It's like one of the most valuable. So. That. Farmer, because we kind of need to keep going. Otherwise, people get hungry and starve. Then morale drops, and then babies, and then settlers don't come. Can't progress, and then the game kind of falls apart. But like I said, there's always a realm of possibility to turn that around. Because I've played a game where most of my population just disappeared, and I only had one or two, and then all of a sudden, like, I paid the gods, and then I got, you know, settlers kind of a four, and then it's kind of started to multiply, and I kind of picked back up. So, like, playing on this normal difficulty, I don't know if hard would be any better. I don't feel that the AI is very too difficult. I mean, they get advantages that kind of annoying. So now there's two soldiers here. How they got to that population level is kind of suspect. Of course, and see, this guy probably has something. No, so he's not developing that fast either. No cannons yet on the field, but again, like, if the cannons are coming after you, just try to get 2 infantry units together and just kind of seize control of the cannon, then you have a cannon. But, yeah, that's basically Ultimate Domain. There's not really too much else to kind of showcase or highlight for us. So, and the video's kind of running a little bit longer than I would have thought, but that, you know, we've seen all the buildings. We haven't seen any advanced units, so I'll go ahead and do an extended playthrough. Might continue this game. I guess I could continue this. Actually, not being interesting. So, just in terms of like having Pearl as my primary resource, and then it's kind of where I'm at as far as population, kind of just the overall look and feel of my lands. I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good about this game. So maybe we'll go ahead and I'll do the, you know, extended playthrough and continue this campaign, and you guys can see the more advanced units in that campaign. But we've basically, you know, showed all the basics of the game. The only thing we're not seeing is like I said, the more advanced units, the cavalry, like cannons and wagons. But you know, they are what they are. You take a little bit to construct as far as resources and time and all of that. So no real reason to sit through that right now. So yeah, I don't think there's too much else that I want to say. I mean, the game, as you can see, there's a pacing to it. It's whether it's your bag of tea, whether or not it's your cup of tea. But it's very, it's not like completely action heavy, and there's lulls as far as like when lulls in the gameplay as far as apparently we can just do 0. I'm trying to type in a number. That's an interesting glitch. It's gonna work out. Anyway, oh, oh, that's cool. I didn't even notice that. These buildings upgraded. Yeah, there's actually there's some dynamic stuff happening in this game that I haven't experienced in a while. So, now we're gonna, like I said, this was kind of the basic playthrough. Gets a feel for the game, shows you some of the mechanics within it. I kind of highlighted some different strategies once we get those advanced units. But we'll definitely do a more extended playthrough, continue this game here and that, and yeah. Well, this has been Ultimate Domain. I'm Ryan, and it was great having you guys here. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and below. Tell me if you've played Ultimate Domain, if you played even the new ones. That'd be cool to check out, get someone's thoughts on how the new ones are. So like I said, I've only seen some of the graphics. It looks basically the same, just kind of, more cleaned up and more graphical in that regards. But yeah, we'll probably take a look at that. If you like what you're seeing, join me for the extended playthrough. That'll be another set of videos that we'll upload here, and we'll kind of go from there and kind of finish up our look at Ultimate Domain here. So again, thanks for joining me. See you guys next time.